Samantha, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up the sound system, how to put it away, organization, and safety tips to do events. We're going to be going over our checklist first, so you're going to want to make sure that your sound system is turned off, that you have all the supplies on your checklist, that you have your checklist, and you're going to want to get your extension cord and multiple outlets ready. First, when you're at an event, make sure that you're going to have power, make sure that you're not going to be around any wet surfaces, everything's going to be clear, dry around you. There's not going to be any kids running around behind your table. Why? Because behind your table is where all your cables are going to be. So you're going to want to make sure nobody trips over that. You're going to want to make sure it's super safe. So cables behind the table, and set up your extension cord. Ask the client where you can plug in your extension cord if you have to use it, and then start setting up with your Alright everyone, so this is the sound system we normally use, our Fender portables. In the middle here we have our base where all your cords will go, and then it separates into 3 different parts. On each side we have our speakers, both the 1 and 2, and over here, if we open it up, we're going to want to open up our sound system by unlatching it here. So you want to press this, it's going to be locked just like this. You press the red button that you see over here, and it unhooks it. So it easily unlatches. And over here we have our speaker cables and power supply and on and off switch side. So this is the basic side where you'll see your speaker cables can fit into this compartment along with your power supply. That's where it always goes, not in the container with the rest of your cords. So speaker cables and power supply, and then over here we have our left and right speaker cable, and along here we have our on and off switch with our power supply cord. So this is what your basic side looks like. Remember, speaker cables over there, power supply, and then where you put your speakers, your power supply, and then your on and off switch right there. So now that I have my sound system all split apart, you're going to put your speaker cables right over here on the bottom right of your speakers, and then over here we have more of our technical side of the sound system where our main volume control is over here. You don't need to worry about the tone, just the master volume here, and then it's divided up into a system of rows. So as you can see, it goes vertical, not horizontal. So over here we have our volume row for the first one, the second one, third, and fourth. So this is what's going to control your volume for, let's say, your microphone. If your microphone was plugged into here, and that would be the control for your microphone. This could be another control for your wireless receiver box. Why? Because you're going to need one microphone cord for one set, and then another microphone cord for another set. So the rows divide up. So let's say you can put your microphone a little lower and your wireless headset a little louder. So that's the difference. And then with your master volume, that's also what's going to keep everything upbeat as far as how far your wireless headset, your microphone, your iPod all together. So this is where your microphone cables would go, as you can see over here. These, you can easily press them and turn them on. That doesn't make a difference, just so you guys know. It's just something to keep lit up. That's optional. And then over here, that would be where your iPod connection cords go. So you would put the gray one over here and the orange one over here. You want to have them separated, not on top of each other, because it's going to be louder like this. Instead of putting them over here just like this, you're going to get a different kind of sound quality. It's not going to be as loud. So if you're having problems with your sound, it's most likely because you're not putting them side by side and not on top of each other. Alright everyone, so based on our checklist, I'm going to show you how to put away everything neatly, how it should fit into the box. First of all, you want to have everything wrapped up in your rubber bands. That's what's going to keep everything neat, organized. You're not going to have to deal with any untangling of wires at events. You're not going to make any of your other team members have to go through that. So you're going to put your wireless receiver box first. Why do you want to put it first? Because it's a box, it's flat, it needs to be safely put in, and it's not going to be squished in between wires where it's all uneven and everything looks crazy. So we always put our wireless receiver box first, and then we start putting our cords in. The cords just need to fit safely in your box. For example, I usually put my 2 microphone cables right on top, so that way they fit perfectly. And then I would also put my iPod connection cord to the right of that receiver box with my AC adapter, my travel case with my iPod. So putting it right over there, whether it's leaning against the edge of the container or just flat, and my microphone. So everything is fitting neatly, just like that. So wireless receiver box, 2 microphone cords, iPod, AC adapter, iPod connection cord, travel case, everything's fitting perfectly. Remember, we don't put our speaker cables and our power supply in there. That's separate, and our extension cord and multiple outlets is definitely not going to fit. So we're going to finish by putting our wireless headset. Make sure you're very careful with the earpiece. Make sure it's flat. We put our receiver box on top first. At the top, just because the wires are very sensitive, the earpiece is sensitive, the microphone, very expensive equipment, so you want to make sure that's put on top just because it's more delicate than everything else. And then don't forget to put your iPod remote control dock set and your backup batteries, and it'll fit perfectly in there. And then this is what your box should look like. So setting up your speaker stands, you're going to want to get your bottom knob first, unlock it, and then keep one hand here and use the other hand to bring this out but pull this up at the same time. So you're going to want to spread the legs apart just like that, so that way that it's going to balance your speaker stands. Your speakers. And then up here, you're simply going to do the same thing, but just bring this up. Now, this one doesn't have a key, but normally what we would do is use this to knot it. Make sure it's closed tight so that way it's secure, and then also put the key through the holes right here that you'll see lined up, and that's going to just double lock it in place. So that's how you put up your speaker stands, and they should look just like that. So I set up the other speaker stand as you should have done, and this is how your presentation should look so far. Your speaker stands on the end of each tube. Now that you have your speaker stand up, what you're going to want to do is take one of your speakers and put it just above here, and it's going to have a hole underneath, so that way it's going to fit perfectly compatible. So right here, you're going to see that hole under your speaker, and that's where your speaker stand is going to go. So place it gently like this and press down. What you're going to want to do is take the end of your speaker cables, and you're going to want to put that through your speaker cable right over here, and I'm going to show you how we neatly wrap it. There's a specific way to do it. You don't just put it into your speakers. So what you're going to want to do is put the end right through here. So we put our speaker cable right through here, and then we wrap it around, making a knot just underneath. You're going to want to keep it close. So it'll look like that, and then we wrap it around once or twice. And that is what's going to keep your speaker cable from staying close to your stand versus just drooping down. So this is the right way to do it. And I'm going to show you guys the wrong way just so you can see the difference side by side. Instead, if I was being a lazy entertainer, the way I would do it is a lot less organized by simply putting my speaker cable here and just letting it drop. And then it's just kind of going to look like that. So when it's like that, what's going to happen is you're less likely to trip just because your cords are loose. So that way it can end up literally pulling down and knocking over you or a child. So you want to make sure that you're wrapping it, tying a knot under here, and keeping it close to your stand. So that way there's less pulling and it's less likely to fall down and it's more safe. So this is the wrong way. And then this over here would be my speakers the correct way. You're going to want to make sure that the ends of your speaker cables are pushed in. Left or right, it doesn't matter. Just as long as they're both pushed in, this compartment should be empty because we've taken our speaker cables out and we're going to make sure we have our power supply plugged in. First thing you want to do when you first get to an event is always set up the music first. Always, always. So you get this, and as you can see, the inputs here, you're going to want to match those up. Push this in. Always make sure your sound system is off. And then you're going to want to plug this into your multiple outlets. Your multiple outlets is for your power supply and your AC adapter, just so you guys know. You have so far, so your power supply is plugged in over there, your multiple outlets and extension cord. You want to keep everything as neat as possible. You don't have to unwrap the extension cord if you don't have to. Just try to keep it organized along the way so it's less picking up and cleaning up later. You should always keep everything as organized as possible. So now we're going to flip the sound system over. And by flipping it over, on this side we'll have our iPod connection, our music, and our microphone cords. So remember to always use your checklist. So far we have our portable sound system, speaker stands, extension cord, multiple outlets, and our speaker cables with our power supply. So now we're going to move on to our iPod connection cord. So you should be setting up your music first. You want to unwrap everything out of the rubber bands and put the rubber bands back in your box so that way you don't have to deal with losing them, losing points, and you're keeping everything organized. So, side by side, it doesn't matter if the orange is over here or the gray is over here. Vice versa, it's the same thing. So keep it organized, and this end would go with your iPod. But today I'm going to be showing you guys with the remote control docks. So instead it would actually go right over here. So just to give you guys the idea, you should have that so far. My sound system is still off. We're going to want to plug everything in first. You're going to want to get that iPod out with the traveling case. And put your iPod right here. Make sure it's taken off hold. And put the playlist according to the theme of the event. So you're going to want to also check off your iPod connection cord, travel case, and your iPod. Make sure you include the number of the iPod. And go putting the things back along inside the box as you go. So we're going to be moving on to our microphone cords. Microphone cords are very simple, as I showed you guys. What I do is sometimes instead of putting back the rubber bands inside the box, sometimes I'll keep them on my wrist just to make sure that they don't get lost. So try to keep everything as organized as possible. Now the microphone cords do have two different ends as I showed you before. So you have to match the ends up based according to the sound system and your mic. So this end would go into your sound system. Just like that. And then this end of your microphone cord would go into your mic. So with our other microphone cord, what we're going to want to do is put that into our wireless receiver box. So simply place the correct ending over here into our sound system. Now you're going to need more space for this one. Your wireless receiver box does need to be 2 to 4 feet away from your sound system to prevent what's called feedback. Feedback is the signals, that terrible sound that happens when the signals are interfering because they're too close together. So you also want to make sure your microphone and your your microphone and your wireless receiver box are never too close to each other. So you're going to want to get this end after you've plugged it in here. Take out your receiver box, and we're almost done, everyone. So you're going to want to place that microphone cord right here where I showed you guys before, just like that. So your receiver box should look like this. I'm not going to place it 2 to 4 feet away from my sound system just yet, just so you guys have a good view of everything. Now left we have our AC adapter. So that's going to be kind of like the miniature power supply for your wireless receiver box. So you're going to want to get that AC adapter, and that's what's going to go right here. So, put the rubber bands back in the box, and unwire it up. And now, for your multiple outlets, this should be plugged in also. Everything should be off so far. And now you're going to want to plug that in right here. You'll be able to tell the difference on the back of the box by the bigger output and the smaller one. The smaller one's the one you're going to use. And the front should look like this. You want to put those antennas up. And now that you've done that, you're going to want to turn this on and make sure your volume's low. And remember what I told you guys about the channels. So now we're going to set this wireless receiver box several feet away from my sound system. So I'm going to be placing it over here. Remember what I said about turning it on. You want to take out that remote control dock. The remote control for your dock set. Make sure your travel case for your iPod is still in your box. Rubber bands are in there. Your backup batteries. Your batteries should be checked before your event, but just in case, always make sure you change them before the light starts turning red, or once it turns red, simply just change them right there. Now the microphone is mainly used for the kids. So when the kids are volunteering at your event, you can easily say, "Hi, what's your name?" and interview them a little bit, talk to them. Also during filming, interviewing the client, getting testimonials, and it can also be used for your assistant or another artistic entertainer during the event. So that's what your microphone's for. Always make sure it's off. So you always want to be cautious with that. Never say anything you shouldn't say into the mic. Also, with your wireless receiver headset, remember what I told you about the headset. Goes behind your head, and this part goes over your ears. So you're going to want to make sure this is on mute before we get started. So mute's going to be in the center. And it's going to simply clip on right here. And you can clip it on whether you're wearing a costume and evaluation. You guys want to make sure that everything is set up very neatly. And also you give me or the training manager at least one mic check on your wireless headset and one mic check on your wireless mic. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how this works. With your wireless mic, right now I have this one on mute. So for your wireless, for your actual microphone, you just want to adjust the volume here. Remember what I told you about, there is separate volumes. So I believe my wired mic is the first one. So we're going to test it out. Mic check, mic check. So you guys can definitely tell the difference. Right here, we're going to adjust the level. Watch out. Alright, so right here, we're going to adjust the level. And that's going to be the level for our microphone. And that can be lowered or higher. Just so you guys see the difference, and the green light's going to go on when this row is activated. So you guys can tell the difference. Then with the wireless headset, as you can see, I have the wireless headset clipped on. Now if I turn it on, you're going to see that the wireless headset, the second row is going off. So you're going to see that green button lit up. You can definitely tell the difference. Don't worry about the buttons under here. You don't have to worry about that. So you can see that the second row has a different kind of volume control. So it's all based on what microphone cords is connected to what. So let's say I have my wireless headset a little lower, and then I have my microphone super loud, so you guys see the difference. So this would be my second row, and this would be my first row, just so you guys can see. And like I said, this would be the main volume. Also, like I said, if the wireless mic doesn't sound that loud, or you're not sure, always put it a little bit closer to your mouth just in case. And then I did mention to you guys, there's different playlists for different kinds of events. So let's say for example, it's more of a kids event. It's oldies, princess, games. There's all different kinds of playlists, so you guys never have to get lost or worried about what music to play during what time. There's seasonal songs, DJ Kids. So according to the theme of the event, always be flexible, and always be considerate with the volume. Be considerate during announcements. Keep everything organized.